Yes, sir. So as we are arriving, please, we come forward.
Yeah, on live to the telecast of the first quarter conference of the Chief of Army Staff, as well as the Combat Arms Training Week holding here at the Jaji Cantonment in Kaduna, Nigeria. Here we have the Chief of Army Staff in person of Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, accompanied by Corps Commandants, Commandants of the Multinational Task Force, Commanders of Army institutions, Directors of Defense, as well as retired generals, all here to witness the transformation that is ongoing in the Nigerian Army, and to be specific, the Jaji Cantonment. This afternoon, I am Benny Adams, your guide. The commissioning we're about to witness here at the Jaji Cantonment is part of activities of the first quarter conference. The conference is actually an avenue for the Army, the top actually in the Army, to review activities of the first 4 months, the first quarter, and plan into the second quarter. And as we've witnessed here today, the Nigerian Army is not just about training and retraining of its personnel, but they have also embarked on infrastructural development. In a short while, we're going to be witnessing the commissioning of the headquarters of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry. This is also one out of some other structures that will be commissioned today. This is a massive structure, well furnished, with office, accommodation. We have conference halls, well air conditioned, and stocked with state-of-the-art furniture, as well as equipment that will enhance the productivity of the men and officers of the Nigerian Army Corps of Infantry. The Army Corps of Infantry is regarded as the queen of the battle, and they are trained to kill. This same group of persons are doing the country proud in the Northeast, as well as other theaters of conflict in and around Nigeria. You will agree with me that the Nigerian Army, from inception, has been engaged within and outside this country. From the Nigerian Civil War to the crisis in Congo, as well as the first Liberian Civil War. They also intervened to ensure peace returned to Sierra Leone. We had the invasion of the Gambia. All of this is being achieved with the provision of the required learning environment. This edifice that is about to be commissioned today is one of those steps directed at equipping the Nigerian Army for better service delivery.
arrival, the Chief of Army Staff, Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Tukro Yusuf Buratai.
The level of infrastructural development in Jaji Cantonment actually shows the level of transformation of the Nigerian Army, particularly its institutions, in the past 4 years. The Nigerian Army School of Infantry, NASI, here in Jaji, is a citadel of military training.
The general salute we just had heralded the arrival of the #1 seat of the Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Tukro Yusuf Buratai, Nigerian Army Medal, Order of Military Merit Brazil, Grand Service Star, Past Staff Corps Dagger, National Defense College in Bangladesh, Bachelor of Arts degree Hans, Masters of Arts, Master in Philosophy, Field Command Medal of Honor, Foreign National Honor Award Medal. Permit me, sir, to stand on existing protocol as already established at Iyejurika Auditorium. I am Master Warrant of Santonidan, Defense Coordinator, Nigerian Army School of Infantry. I am the Master of Ceremony for this unique and remarkable day. Please permit me at this juncture, without much talking, call on the Commandant, Nigerian Army School of Infantry, Major General D.H. Ali Kefi, to please deliver his welcome address, and thereafter invite the Corps Commander Engineer to please speak on this very project. It will be followed by the guest of honors remark and then the commissioning proper. The Commandant Nasisa.
Thank you very much, the Chief of Army Staff, sir, senior officers, hired, distinguished invited ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, and specifically the soon to be commissioned and declared open the new NASI headquarters complex. Today is like a dream come true for many of us. Military men are not expected to show emotions, but we are overwhelmed by the revolution that has been ongoing at Jaji and elsewhere in the Nigerian Army formations and units. For those of us who are familiar with Jaji, will know the decay in terms of infrastructure if you recast 5 years backward. But today, there has been a remarkable transformation in the infrastructure of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry and other establishments here in Jaji. It is not just only infrastructure, even the training has undergone tremendous transformation, and that is what is also behind some of the successes that we've been witnessing in our operations. The Chief of Army Staff has done tremendously well. We cannot thank him enough. Perhaps we may not attribute anyone that is being responsible, being the father of the Nigerian Army. But in my own humble opinion, Lieutenant General Tukur Yusuf Buratai is the father of a new Nigerian Army. Permit me to say that before taking up this appointment as the Commandant of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, I was the Director of Training Army from 2015 to 2018. At one point, the Chief of Army Staff directed me, that was early on, late 2015, to undertake an assessment tour of the entire schools and institutions of the Nigerian Army. I did that, and I turned in a report to the Chief of Army Staff. The report wasn't remarkable at all. In summary, that most of the Nigerian Army schools require a lot of effort to turn them around in terms of infrastructure. At that time also, we had received some requests from some foreign countries, notably African countries, for us to offer them slots to train their personnel here in Nigeria, in various schools. The state of our schools were not so remarkable, and it was the Chief of Army Staff who said that, God willing, will turn things around. And God willing, today we've seen remarkable transformation in not only the infrastructure, as I said, but in also the improvement in training. Without wasting much time, I want to assure the Chief of Army Staff that this is an honor done to us. The trust that you've bestowed on us, we will hold this trust the way it is supposed to be. We will maintain these facilities the way they should be maintained, and we will preserve them for generations and generations and generations to come and inherit and hopefully pass on to their next generations. On this note, permit me to humbly request the Corps Commander engineers to make a brief on the technical aspect and of this project. The Corps Commander engineers, sir.
Our indefatigable Chief of Army Staff, senior officers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. When we were commissioning the Army War College in Nigeria, I had the privilege of giving a brief at that commissioning. And I said, the only thing that is not done is if our Chief of Army Staff has not conceived it and said it out. Once he pronounces it, it is as good as done. When I took over as the Corps Commander, sometimes I visited him, and he had mentioned that we should bring a design for the School of Infantry, which we had already carried out. And then back and forth, we kept taking designs to him, and he will correct, change what's supposed to be here like that until we got the final approval. And then the journey began. Let me read what I have written on this building. It is with great honor and humility, sir, that I welcome you all to the commissioning of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry complex constructed by the Nigerian Army engineers under the direction of the Chief of Army Staff. This project is one of the numerous interventions of the Chief of Army Staff in fulfillment of his commitment towards improving institutions, structures, and facilities throughout the Nigerian Army. It will undoubtedly provide a more conducive environment for training in the Nigerian Army. Thus, achieving one of the cardinal pillars of his vision, which is to have a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles. This project was conceived by the Chief of Army Staff, and the groundbreaking ceremony was conducted on the 14th of April 2018. Funds were released to the Nigerian Army engineers and construction commenced on the 25th June 2018. The Corps was tasked to execute the project by direct labor in collaboration with K-Salam Consorts, our technical partners. The structure covers an area of 2,800 square meters and consists of two sections. The front section is two-story, while the sides are single-story. The complex comprises the commandant's office with a private study room, offices for staff, a 300-seat auditorium, a simulation center which has two simulation rooms, a conference room, a library, officers/soldiers canteen, a printing press, and a mosque attached to the building. Public power supply to the complex is complemented by 2x250 kVA generators to provide alternative power. There is an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which is part of the build of this complex commissioning, but it is located at the YO block, where we will move from here to go and see. As you go through this magnificent edifice, you will observe that all the offices are tastefully furnished. The complex has specifically designed to provide a conducive working environment to facilitate effective planning and decision-making in the discharge of the training responsibilities of the Infantry Corps. I am pleased to report that the project was completed within a period of 10 months, from June 18 to April 2019. It is pertinent to note that the project meets all specifications in design, quality, and cost effectiveness. All materials used in the project are of very high quality, and highly skilled craftsmen or artisans were employed in all the stages of construction. This is the first-class facility that sets new standards in the construction of office accommodations in the Nigerian Army. Let me state also that this collaboration with the technical partners has contributed to improving the Corps' image, that is the Nigerian Army's Corps' capability in executing direct labor projects. Our personnel deployed to the site have acquired additional knowledge, skills, and competencies in building construction methods. These competencies will no doubt be applied in other direct labor projects by the Corps. Please permit me to add that through the committed efforts of our chief, the Chief of Army Staff, the Nigerian Army engineers has acquired greater capabilities and enhanced capacity to perform our roles in providing engineering support to the Nigerian Army. May I therefore seize this opportunity, sir, to, on behalf of the Nigerian Army engineers, express the Corps' profound appreciation to you, sir, for this unflinching support and commitment towards improving our capabilities. We are grateful that you did not lose confidence in the engineers, despite the fact that you had to remove 2 Corps commanders, but rather you gave us more assignments to drive us towards better performance. We thank you, sir. Indeed, we have become more professional since your assumption of command. May I appreciate the Commander's Corps of Infantry, that is the outgone and the current one, the Commandant Nasi, for their support. My officers and men told me how you gave them all the needed support in carrying out this project. I also want to thank all the general officers, commanders, and corps commanders. I recall that at the commissioning, most officers pledged and redeemed their pledges to support the building almost immediately. I want to thank all of you. On this note, sir, we present the edifice you sponsored, you designed, and asked us to design. We hope that we have met your specification as we go inside, sir.
That was the corps commander of the engineering corps, Major General A. Malu. Before him, we had the welcome address delivered by Major General Eso Olabanji, who is a corps commander of infantry. At this moment, we're awaiting the remarks by the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tiwai Buratai.
It is on this note I want to most respectfully request the Corps Commander Infantry to most respectfully request the guest of honor, the #1 seat of the Nigerian Army, Lieutenant General Tuku Yusuf Buratai, to please make his remark and officially commission the complex. The Corps Commander, sir.
The Commander Training and Doctrine Command, the very senior officers from Defense and Army Headquarters, our invited guests, very senior retired Army officers, including past corps commanders of infantry and the commandant of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry. Well, first of all, before I make my remarks, I want to state that I was one time commandant of this school, and my office was somewhere there, and I think the commandant, I think from today he will move into the brand new office. That old building used to be the work production center of the School of Infantry, and it was highly inadequate, insufficient. Most of the staff officers and the clerical staff always jam-packed in one office or the other, cramped in one place, and there were inadequate space for even for them to keep, their files. Well, God I had my prayers, and my appointment as Chief of Army Staff, I said this should be the priority for me to really get a befitting edifice. And then the former commandant, Major Abdul Karim, where are you? Major Abdul Karim, K.I. Abdul Karim. Well, he started actually the concept, the development of, this particular office. I directed him. I said, I have an idea where it should be located, and I said it should be in this place. And we're able to come here and get the groundbreaking ceremony, started. And today we are ready for its formal commissioning. We give the glory to Almighty God, and for all the personnel, officers and men, and especially the Commander and Nigerian Army Engineers, who has worked tirelessly to ensure that the design and the construction, were done as per directed. On this note, I will start by saying that I'm highly delighted to welcome you to the combined Chief of Army Staff First Quarter Conference and the Combat Arms Training Week 2019, and especially to the commissioning of projects that were embarked upon by the Nigerian Army. As you recall, I recently commissioned some completed projects, informations and establishment of Nigerian Army, including, as you may recall, training institutions such as the Nigerian Army School of Armor. More of such commissioning and of completed projects will be undertaken in the coming days, as mentioned by the Commandant of Nigerian Army School of Infantry in his remarks. It is a well-known fact that in the not too distant past, the state of infrastructure facilities, and most crucially, combat supplies and equipment needed for our troops were in bad shape in many military formations. In terms of their serviceability state, the combination of the poor state of and infrastructure coupled with faulty strategy undoubtedly affected morale of troops then, and consequently the fighting efficiency of Nigerian Army in ongoing operations. Mostly affected was the Operation Zaman Lafiya, then renamed Operation Lafiya Dole in the mid-2015. Fighting of combat efficiency of a force or an army is thus a function of several factors, including leadership, sound campaign operational plans, state of training, and that is intangible but vital factor, that is the morale. Of morale for a soldier in turn is a function of, amongst other things, the work, the condition of living, accommodation, as well as the place of work. The soldier also needs to know that he and his family have the cover of the military in case of medical emergencies, and monthly of several other factors that are collectively referred to as welfare. It is for this reason in the discharge of required Army School of Infantry and other Nigerian Army training schools have been playing and will continue to play important roles in Nigerian Army's quest for professionalism. It is therefore essential that everything is done to ensure that these vital institutions are well positioned to deliver on their mandates. The projects that are to be commissioned at Nigerian Army School of Infantry within the periods of this conference are expected to further enhance the school's capacity to deliver qualitative training. Some of these projects that will be commissioned today and in the coming days, such as the new headquarters here, the watermanship training wing, the platoon weapons wing, blocks of classrooms, and administrative offices at the officer cadets training wing are all conceived and delivered to actualize these objectives. While some are brand new projects, others have been rehabilitated and remodeled from their previous states. Among these projects are the airborne rigger shed, the entire airborne training area, including all its apparatuses, the Dambaza Student Officers Hostel, and the airborne students' quarters. Ladies and gentlemen, no structure will last forever, but a structure is as good as the user. It is therefore implies that the lifespan of an item, structure, equipment, or facility can be extended for a considerable long period of time with proper maintenance. Accordingly, I have directed that maintenance and management of these facilities must be well planned and ensured. In this regard, the Young Officers Course, the Commanding Officers Course, as well as the Company Commanders Course accommodation that were earlier remodeled and renovated have such arrangements in place. I therefore charge the Commandant, Nigerian Army School of Infantry, and particularly the users of these and other facilities, to take them as they would their personal property. At this juncture, I would like to thank the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, for the support to the Nigerian Army despite the tight budgetary constraints and competing priorities. We pledge our unalloyed loyalty to the Commander-in-Chief and to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let me also commend the Nigerian Army engineers that supervise the project for a job well done, and also thank the team of civil companies that provided the different services that made this project a reality. I would like to also thank the Commander Infantry Corps, the immediate past Commander Infantry Corps as well, who is now General Officer Commanding Air Division, for his foresight and indeed leadership of the Infantry Corps in ensuring that training facilities are well maintained, as well as the mobilization and fourth generation of troops to fight across the various theaters of operation are done professionally. Let me use this opportunity to also congratulate the commandant of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, who will use this opportunity to be the first person to utilize this gigantic and beautiful edifice. Congratulations. Well, the congratulations will not be concluded without congratulating all infantry officers and indeed the soldiers. We have done a lot to improve the welfare of the troops and to improve also the training capacity of the officers. Many courses have been opened both at home and abroad for the infantry personnel, especially the instructors. When I was here as the commandant of the school, those of you that were here with me, you saw the efforts I made in renovation. A lot of things have been done, even when I was commandant. So it's a continuation of that effort, and to God be the glory. I want to most sincerely thank all of you for finding time to be here. And as we march in to see the beautiful edifice, I'm very much particularly pleased with the simulation center, although equipment are yet to be installed, but we will do that as quickly as possible. It's a force multiplier, and I'm sure the Director General Land Forces Simulation of Nigeria, he's here, Olukoju. So you take advantage, make sure this equipment is installed as quickly as possible. So once again, thank you and God bless all.
Major General Sarham, sir. Major General Sarham.
Well, to the glory of God and benefit of all officers and men of the Nigerian Army, we commission this edifice, headquarters, Nigerian Army School of Infantry. So help us God. The headquarters complex project is initiated, constructed, furnished, and commissioned by me today, 24th April 2019. Glory of God.
As the Chief of Army Staff understood that the national flag
Yes, there we just witnessed the official opening and inauguration of the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, NASI, here in Jaji.
Thank you very much, sir. You may proceed.
The official hoisting of the flag marks the opening of this great edifice. It is a massive structure that is sitting on 280 square meters. This project lasted only 10 months. The official commencement of the project was in April.
Now we come to the entrance of the last headquarters to take a tour around.
You can't roll it.
Yes.
From here to
So for cadet side. So I should be going there. That place will then you want to go in, you don't have to.
The Nigerian Army School of Infantry is a massive edifice that sits on 280 square meters. The project, which commenced 14th of April 2018, only had 10 months to be completed to this very stage. The structure houses the commandant's office with a private study. It has offices that are well furnished to taste. It has an auditorium that has a sitting capacity of 300. It also has officers' canteen, a mini printing press, officers' canteen, as well as 2 simulation centers, though they are yet to be equipped. This, according to the Chief of Army Staff, is to create a better environment for training and retraining. This, no doubt, the Chief of Army Staff has turned around the once decay in infrastructure in this particular cantonment. Talking about the Jaji cantonment, has been turned around. And what is expected, from what we heard him say, is a high-level training that will guarantee much more professionalism. And this is an effort that is aimed at positioning not just the Nigerian Army School of Infantry, but all other military institutions to deliver on their mandates. From here, we're also going to be witnessing inauguration of hostel accommodation, waterman training centers, weapons training areas, as well as cadet training wings, not leaving out the airborne training area, as well as some other student quarters. The Nigerian Army School of Infantry, the structure here, has an extension of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which is not within the immediate vicinity, but just some meters away. This is all aimed at positioning this institution for better service delivery.
Start sitting with maybe the chief
agree with me that this auditorium is furnished to standard. It is a 300-seat auditorium equipped with quality settees, well air-conditioned. It is a structure that will stand the test of time. From what we see, we have the finest materials deployed here. Also in this edifice are 2 simulation centers. Though the simulation centers, according to the Chief of Army Staff, are yet to be equipped, but very soon that will be done. That is a promise by the Chief of Army Staff. He's one person that when he says, he gets to accomplish. These are office accommodation equipped with the best you can imagine around. And the commandant's office has also a private study. It is a structure that is sitting on 280 square meters. It has a mini printing press. All of this is to ensure that the Nigerian Army School of Infantry does not go anywhere, but everything will be within the cantonment. If you ask me, I'll say for security reasons. Like I said earlier on, this edifice has an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Here we have past commanders and commandants of the Nigerian Army Corps of Infantry. The Corps of Infantry is regarded as the queen of the battle, and their motto is yield to nothing. They are the foot soldiers. They are the ones that are at the forefront in the Northeast to ensure the end of insurgency. Present here to witness this landmark achievement by the Chief of Army Staff as well as the Infantry Corps leadership are former commandants and commander of the Infantry Corps, both retired and serving. You will agree with me that yielding to nothing, talking about the Infantry Corps, have proven their might in different fields of engagement. Engagement in the Niger Delta, present engagement in the Northeast, as well as engagement in the Northern Mali War. We also have them participated in the invasion of the Gambia, restoring peace in Sierra Leone as well as Liberia. One core event they got to prove themselves is the crisis in Congo as well as the Nigerian civil war. Earlier on, as part of activities to mark the 2019 conference, first quarter conference, as well as the Combat Week, the Chief of Army Staff was at the conference where he delivered his opening remarks. It was an avenue to brainstorm and review the activities of the first quarter and their plans into the second quarter. For the Chief of Army Staff, these activities are actually aimed at ensuring a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional roles. The conference also has experts, security experts from across the country, as well as some others from outside this country who converged here on Jaji to ensure that the security challenges being experienced is a thing of the past. While reviewing the first quarter report of 2019, the Chief of Army Staff commended officers and men, particularly the corps commanders, for their efforts at the various theaters of war in the country. He mentioned present efforts at Zamfara State, Kaduna State, the Northeast, as well as the successful conduct of ex-Igu Ike-3 and the Operation Safe Conduct, which was aimed at supporting the Nigerian police and civil authorities. He also commended the role of the Nigerian Armed Forces in the conduct of the successful 2019 general elections.
The choice of Jaji as the venue for this conference is for many reasons. Firstly, it affords officers of the Infantry Corps who just concluded their reunion to seamlessly migrate to the Chief of Army Staff's first quarter conference without having to embark on another journey. Secondly, it offers us the opportunity to see the level of transformation of Nigerian Army training institutions in the past 4 years, with Jaji as an example. This transformed citadel of military training provides the serene environment needed for us to brainstorm and appraise our performance in the first quarter 2019. We'll also, in the course of this conference, deliberate on key issues that will positively prepare and project us into the second quarter 2019 with a view to further consolidate our efforts towards achieving my vision to have a professionally responsive Nigerian Army in the discharge of its constitutional laws. I appreciate the combined efforts of the principal staff officers and other staff officers at the Army headquarters, the Infantry Corps and Center, and Headquarters 1 Division for painstaking coordination and arrangements put in place to have a successful conference. It is gratifying to note that the Nigerian Army within the first quarter of 2019 has performed creditably well, starting with the seizing of the initiative and turning the battle momentum against the Boko Haram terrorists in the northeast, and rounding up with the professional manner with which the Nigerian Army supported the civil authorities as part of our constitutional role to ensure the successful conduct of the 2019 general elections. The successful conduct of Exercise Egoeke 3 and Operation Safe Conduct 2019 in support of the Nigeria Police and civil authorities has contributed to strengthen the nation's democracy, considering the wide acceptability and credibility of the elections as espoused by key nations of the world, civil society organizations, as well as local and international observers and monitors. Despite reports of some alleged cases of infractions by some personnel which are being investigated by a high-level committee, I am elated with the encomiums and accolades showered on the Nigerian Army for the high level of professionalism exhibited in the conduct of the elections. I say well done to each and every one of you. I must also acknowledge the resilience and doggedness of our troops in reversing the ugly trends that almost marred our concerted efforts in the Northeast. As we are all aware, Boko Haram has aligned with the Islamic State West African province to make northern Borno and the general area of the Lake Chad Basin an enclave straddling the four countries in the region. Thus, the fight requires a combined holistic approach by the countries of the Lake Chad Commission to ensure the total defeat of both Boko Haram terrorists and the ISWAP. That is why Operation Yanchin Tabki was launched to effectively ensure the total destruction of the insurgents hibernating and operating from the Tumbus, with a view to crippling their ability and capability to wage any form of war. The operational successes recorded in this first quarter 2019 in this fight have further underscored the Nigerian Army's resolve to defend the territorial integrity of our dear country, Nigeria. Gentlemen, there is no doubt that we are engaged in asymmetric operations against terrorists side by side with the resurgence of kidnapping and armed banditry in the northwest as well as the north-central zones of our country. The strategy we used in the past to address such ugly trends in the southeast and the south-south regions must therefore be rejuvenated with new out-of-the-box ideas to address the current security challenges. This has necessitated the launching of the Operation Harbin Kunama 3. The concept of this operation will require the combat arms as well as all combat support and combat support services working in synergy with other security agencies, the traditional institutions and other stakeholders to get rid of criminal elements. We must ensure information flow that will be converted into actionable and timely intelligence for troops to take proactive measures and to support and drive targeted operations. It is important that commanders in the field relate with the society and other security agencies in their efforts to bring the high rate of kidnapping, acts of banditry and attacks on villages leading to killings in Zamfara, Sokoto, Kaduna and Katsina states to an end. There must be sustained synergy, cooperation and collaboration with all stakeholders in these endeavors. At this point, I will seize this opportunity to caution the media, especially in the social media, and the general public not to glorify bandits, armed robbers, kidnappers, and ethnic militias to the extent that they are seen as stronger than the military and other security agencies. The criminals and bandits are only as strong as the society paints or view them, and further propagated by the media. It is important to state that information and intelligence flows from the people and indeed from the press and the public. Such criminal activities are intelligence-based, and the people are in this regard to provide timely information and clear identifications of the perpetrators. Undue publicity and praising of the bandits and other criminal elements will only motivate them to commit more criminal acts at the detriment of the society. Therefore, the press, the general public, security analysts, and public commentators are advised to show more maturity and due diligence in this collective effort of ridding the country of criminals and criminalities. We are all aware that of recent there have been comments by different interest groups, civil society organizations, clergies, including pastors, imams, and sheikhs, on the state of security in the country. Many of these stakeholders have painted very gloomy pictures of the current security situation. While no one can deny the prevailing state of insecurity in some parts of the country, the situation has not degenerated to the disparate levels as claimed by the commentators. Every Nigerian, including the pastors, imams, and other stakeholders, have a part to play in the moral rectitude of the society. The state of insecurity in parts of the country is partly attributable to the moral decadence in the society, and our religious leaders have very important roles to play as our spiritual moral guardians, and custodians. Blaming the government and security agencies while not making expected moral contributions will certainly not bring an end to the security challenges we are facing today. Rather than blames, these religious leaders should pray for the criminals and the bandits to change their ways, and also to pray for the government and the security agencies to succeed in finding lasting solutions to the security challenges in the country and indeed globally. On our own part, we shall continue to conduct operations as necessary to mitigate identified challenges across the spectrum of our society. To effectively succeed in the conduct of operations, we must embark on realistic and effective training and establish operational units in line with Nigerian Army Order of Battle 2016. I am happy to observe that in line with my training directive for the year 2019, formations and units have commenced important activities such as the annual range classification, corporal and below competitions, and training of standby forces for emergency, for local operations and peacekeeping operations. In the area of capacity building, we have sponsored several senior and junior officers on overseas courses, seminars, and workshops. We partnered with the Harvard Kennedy School of the United States of America to train 30 senior officers on leadership and strategic management at the Nigerian Army Resource Center, Abuja. Similarly, in order to develop the intellectual capacity of our officers, we initiated the Chief of Army Staff's lecture series, which are held twice every month at the Nigerian Army Resource Center. This is aimed at bringing intellectuals, academia, captains of industries, and other notable individuals to speak on contemporary issues that will help build the intellectual capacity of personnel. In the area of field training, we sponsored a platoon of troops to Burkina Faso for exercise Flintlock, and 2 officers and 8 senior NCOs for the Africa-India exercise in India. I have also approved the conduct of a 1-week doctrinal and leadership seminar for junior leaders at Headquarters Training and Doctrine Command, Nigerian Army. This is an innovative training for junior leaders as they will be tested in a two-sided manual wargaming exercise aimed at preparing them for operations. These and many more are efforts put in place to have professionally trained troops. To ensure troops are no longer battle fatigued, I have directed that fresh troops be injected into the theater of operations, while overstayed personnel are gradually being inducted. We have operationalized some new command schools, brigades, battalions, and forward operation bases. Some of them are the Nigerian Army Cyber Warfare School in Girin, the 63 Brigade Asaba, 98 Battalion, which is still oncoming, Nigerian Army Special Forces Logistics, and the forward operations Gembu. I have directed that the forward operation base Ode Ekiti be made operational, and also we now have the 19th Brigade and its units to operate deep into the insurgents' hideouts in northern Borno and the Lake Chad region. We have also established a center for counter-terrorism under the Nigerian Army University BU, essentially as a hub for comprehensive research on counter-terrorism. More establishment and units will come on stream in the nearest future as we implement the Order of Battle 2016. The Nigerian Army within the first quarter 2019 also established the Nigerian Army Vehicle Manufacturing Company with a view to developing our capability to produce our own vehicles, repair and carry out maintenance. I am glad to note that within the first quarter 2019, the company has made significant repairs of unserviceable equipment in support of Operation Lafia Dole, and indeed in support of Operation Harbin Kunama 3. The company is also on the verge of delivering own-made operational vehicles. This shows that it is only a matter of time before our military-industrial complex takes a firm route in line with Mr. President's directives. We have also established the Nigerian Army Land Forces Simulation Center. The Director General and some officers just came back from Turkey on an assessment and familiarization visit. When fully established, it will cater for all forms of simulations as a force multiplier for our training efforts and will reduce cost of training to a minimum. Furthermore, in a bid to promote information technology and in line with standard-based practices, the Nigerian Army has approved the use of a secure military unified communication system called the Nigerian Army Secured Information Platform. The Nigerian Army Secured Information Platform is designed to offer fast access, secure and timely delivery of voice, video and data communication links in real time. It is almost due for launching, but at the moment, all mails and correspondence to the Chief of Army Staff Office are sent through the upgraded Nawani platform, and my directives are also communicated via the same medium. This has further enhanced speed of transmission of directives and drastically reduced the circulation of large volumes of papers. I therefore urge you all to key into this innovation immediately. Gentlemen, an army needs logistic support to function optimally. To this effect, Mr. President has intervened promptly by authorizing concerted efforts through a government-to-government procurement policy to obtain critical platforms needed for our operations. This package, which is almost due for delivery, will also come with the technical training, content, and maintenance support. Similarly, to ensure adequate logistics support for our operations in the Northeast, we have established a new logistic base in Monguno, procured vehicles, motorcycles, ballistic helmets, fragmentation jackets, boots, and other clothing stores and general stores in support of our operations. Let me reiterate at this juncture that we remain very passionate about the welfare of our troops. I strongly believe that a well-motivated army is the bastion of military victory. In this conviction, I have pursued vigorously the construction, renovation, rehabilitation, and indeed the development of new structures for both officers and soldiers, their living quarters nationwide. I have also, within the period under review, directed the payment of the new ration cash allowance, operations and uniform allowance as approved by Mr. President. The Nigerian Army University Bureau is fast developing in terms of academics and infrastructure. I have directed that the Nigerian Army constituency must be given preference in admission and job opportunities in the university. Similarly, the Nigerian Army Welfare Holdings Limited has established and incorporated several welfare-related companies that will be beneficial to personnel and their families. These include Nigerian Army Farms and Ranches Limited, the International Livestock Market at Giri, Abuja, the Nolji Gasland Plant at Mambila Barracks, Abuja, agent banking in Nigerian Army Barracks, the Super Green Securities Limited, and the launching of the micro distribution centers of gas penetration plants in collaboration with the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. The plan is to replicate these laudable efforts nationwide. With these comprehensive welfare packages in place, I have no doubt that troops of the Nigerian Army will be motivated to give their best in the discharge of their constitutional responsibilities. Having mentioned some of the things achieved within the first quarter 2019, it is important for us during this conference to appraise our successes and also shortcomings with a view to preparing for the second quarter 2019. It is my desire to see the Nigerian Army well prepared to face the contemporary security challenges ahead. On this premise, I welcome the theme for this year's Combat Arms Training Week, which is leveraging land power for current and future warfare, the utility of the combat arms. I am convinced the various briefs and lectures program, as well as the discussion and interactive sessions that will follow, will provide workable solutions that will address the emerging security challenges and position the Nigerian Army for more effective service delivery towards providing secure environment for peace and unity in our country. To achieve this, commanders at all levels must be more proactive in their information gathering efforts and in processing the information into credible intelligence for operations. Commanders must also be innovative and prudent in the management of resources to ensure proper maintenance of equipment placed under their charge. Training of troops under command to ensure physical fitness and operational efficiency has to be paramount as we move into the second quarter of 2019. Distinguished colleagues, let me use this important occasion to pay tributes to the gallant officers and soldiers who, in obedience to our Constitution, have made the supreme sacrifice in line of duty within the period under review. They have, as patriotic Nigerians, fought bravely and as demanded of them. My condolences go to their families. We will never forget them, and we must ensure that the payment of their entitlements and the welfare of those they left behind remain priority. May their gentle souls rest in perfect peace. Finally, and with a high sense of responsibility and respect, I humbly express our profound gratitude to Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for his invaluable support to the Nigerian Army. I want to, on behalf of officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, once more pledge our total loyalty to Mr. President and our commitment to the defense of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The Nigerian Army shall continue to remain apolitical, professional, and responsive in the discharge of its constitutional roles. On this note, I have the honor and privilege to declare the Chief of Army Staff's Fourth Quarter Conference and the Combat Arms Training Week 2019 open. Thank you and God bless.
That is the Chief of Army Staff's message to the First Quarter Conference holding in Jaji. As the conference now moves into a technical session, while the security experts deliberate on a way forward for better security engagement, which is not for public consumption, we will take leave from the live transmission here in Jaji and join our studios in Abuja for the continuation of our programs. On behalf of the production crew and yours sincerely here, Benny Adams, we say good evening.
Welcome to an abridged version of Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije-Ochi. You just watched the Chief of Army Staff inaugurating projects at Infantry Call Center in Jaji, Kaduna State. Now the news. We start Nationwide today with a visit of President Muhammadu Buhari in Lagos State, where he reiterated his administration's commitment to delivering people-oriented projects that will promote infrastructural development and create job opportunities. The president inaugurated several projects, including the Oshodi Integrated Terminal, designed to cater for more than 1 million passengers daily. The project is aligned with the federal government's desire to make life easier for the citizenry.
I am delighted to be here and success of our administration as we pursue policies and programs that will positively impact on our citizens.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode commended President Buhari for the political will and funding of this project and others. For more details of the president's visit to Lagos, let's join Hingino in our Lagos Network Center. Hingino, it's over to you.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Lagos. President Muhammadu Buhari has unveiled the reconstructed Institute of Maternal and Child Health Facility, popularly known as Ayinke House, located within the premises of Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. Ayinke House, which is adjudged Nigeria's biggest maternal hospital, was upgraded from an 80-bed facility to a 170-bed healthcare center with state-of-the-art medical equipment and information technology. Joy Ken Ababwe has details.
President Muhammadu Buhari, after inaugurating the project, was conducted round the facility alongside his host and other dignitaries. Maternal and child mortality is one of the major challenges bedeviling the health sector in Nigeria, and the present administration is determined to end it. The reconstruction of the Maternal and Child Health Hospital, Ayinke House in Lagos, is one of the measures being taken by the Lagos State government. The facility, a 2-story building with a 5-story administrative block, was upgraded from an 80-bed hospital to a 170-bed health facility comprising 5 operation theaters, 16-bed acute care department with 3 organ support capabilities, 30 special care baby units with incubators, laboratories, and a medical gas plant. One of the largest in Africa, Governor Ambode says the new facility will not only improve maternal and child health care, but reduce deaths.
As a state, we are aware that universal and basic primary health care is one of the cardinal priorities of your administration. Following this direction, we have consciously worked to bring quality, affordable and modern health care to all our citizens.
Medical students and resident doctors in obstetrics and gynecology can now take advantage of facilities at the new Ayinke House for training.
This facility can do more specialized care that the old one never had. If you gotta get, the old one had just about 2 theaters. This one has 5 theaters. The old one never had neonatal and surgery care unit. This one has 30 units of neonatal care. Those are 2 keys: maternal mortality, neonatal mortality.
I have about 21 consultant obstetricians and gynecologists ready to work. As we speak, this edifice has been renamed the Institute of Maternal and Child Health. That means that work that will be going on in here is not just about service, research and training.
The maternal and child health care facility has begun full operations.
It's an edifice that will ease the tension of our pregnant mothers in Lagos State.
All of us are happy because now those pregnant women, there is a place for them to deliver. There is no more looking for somewhere where they will deliver.
For women in Lagos, especially new and expectant mothers, this is worth celebrating because this facility is certainly going to bring them succor. In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has assured Nigerians that the 500-seater Lagos Theatre, inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari, will further develop tourism, arts and entertainment in Lagos and Africa at large.
Tourism, arts, culture and entertainment are major points of focus for Governor Akinwumi Ambode as his commitment to promoting these sectors stands unwavering. The Eco Theatre is a sterling concept by the Ambode administration to provide a viable platform for youths to harness their creative minds and potentials. 4 new theatres have been completed in Ikeja, Badagry, Alimosho and Ekpe and are set to be inaugurated for public use. Governor Ambode, who accompanied President Muhammadu Buhari for the inauguration of the project alongside governors of Oyo, Ogun, Ondo, Ekiti, Adamawa, Deputy Governor of Edo State, Lagos State Governor-elect and his deputy, explained that his administration has made concerted efforts to fulfill one of his campaign promises to ensure that Lagos becomes the tourism and entertainment hub of Africa.
Because we know that there are no white-collar jobs anymore. They can create jobs for themselves through this place. So I just use this, like we said, we have 4 already, others will be constructed, and also the incoming governor also will continue from where we will stop.
The State's Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Steve Ayorinde, stated that infrastructural development, regeneration of old and creation of iconic attractions for entertainment, arts and culture enthusiasts are some of the methods used by the state to boost economic activities, improve domestic tourism, and expand opportunities for job creation.
It's an opportunity for our youths, for rehearsal spaces, for comedy shows, for musicals, for concerts, and for live theatre, which is the primary aim, and of course cinema. So this is what Lagos is all about. Let us increase the art spaces that are available so that our people, our talented youth, can have opportunities opportunities to practice what they learn.
The theatre is also part of the state government's development plan for the tourism sector, as the facility is expected to attract visitors from within and outside the country. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
That's our contribution from Lagos. It's now back to Lydia in Abuja for the continuation of Nationwide.
Many thanks, Hingino. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, says the next 4 years of the Buhari administration will witness greater infrastructural development of the country and expansion of the social investment programs to reach more Nigerians. Speaking on NTA's flagship program, Good Morning Nigeria, the minister noted that Nigerians have asked for a better deal by re-electing President Muhammadu Buhari for a second term. Halika Opanachi has more.
The Information and Culture Minister stressed that the peaceful conduct of the 2019 general elections resonates positively among Nigerians' global friends and allies. Hence, his recent visits to the United Kingdom and the United States of America to gain more support for the administration and attract more investors to Nigeria.
We owe it a duty to our people and to our country to ensure that the outside world, and even the local, even the domestic community, it gets the right narrative and the right, picture.
He outlined some of the second-term plans of the administration in moving Nigeria forward, especially in the areas of infrastructural development, power generation, and job creation.
If funds meant to build roads, meant to provide power, meant to provide jobs, are shared among just a few people, then there will be no development. I remember as soon as I came in, we issued a statement that between 2006 and 2013, just about 54 people or 55 people allegedly stole 1.4 trillion naira. That's 50% of what we spent on infrastructure in 2017. So you can see the correlation between that development and corruption. And that is why we believe that the next 4 years will only be an improvement on the last 4 years.
On the war against corruption, the minister was emphatic that the present administration deserves credit over its achievements so far and hoped the international community will continue to join Nigeria in prosecuting the fight against terrorism. In Abuja, Alika Opanachi, Arwa, NT News.
The Senate has advised the federal government to urgently ensure deployment of enough security presence along the border communities of Taraba and Benue states. The motion moved by Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Bacha drew the attention of the Senate to the crisis involving youths of these communities. Ignatius Unko has more on the motion.
Well, this motion came under Order 42 of the Senate Standing Orders, and what that implies that any issue that comes under this order, it's deemed to be very urgent and needed such attention. And actually, that was what happened when Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Bacha drew the attention of his colleagues to the lingering crisis involving some youths living along the borders of Taraba and Benue State. He called on his colleagues to ensure that there's an adequate legislative intervention to forestall further occurrence. And then, well, that actually attracted enough attention from the senators who lent their support to that motion, and eventually there was a resolution. And here with me is a senator from Taraba State, Yusuf Abubakar, who is here to tell us what are the major importance of that motion.
Well, thank you very much. My understanding is that the motion is trying to find the intervention of the parliament in respect of the crisis in Taraba State. This is not the first time the crisis in Taraba State has been erupting. They are mostly communal in nature and also, happening, in the southern part of Taraba, central, north. But we have been talking about this for so many times. I think we need to sit down critically, for the state government, who has, the fundamental role in identifying the causes, the remote and the causes of this crisis. So I think, the resolutions of the Senate is up. It has come at the right time. and it is the time that we want the security, to come very, very strong in solving the problem of such issues in Taraba State.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, the Senate has confirmed the appointment of Omolola Edewo as Executive Director, Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation. This is what we have for you from the Red Chamber at the moment.
Many thanks, Ignatius. Now, discussants on NTA's Current Affairs program Tuesday Live have stressed the need for cordial relationship between the executive and the legislature to advance good governance for development. Talatu Ezrike has that.
It is said that the beauty of democracy lies largely in good governance by the three arms of government. The legislature, an arm of the government charged with making laws, is seen to be living up to its responsibilities, especially in the last 4 years. To the credit of the 8 National Assembly, many say include the passage of the National Minimum Wage, the Not Too Young to Run law, the National Identity Management Commission Act, and the Companies Allied Matters Act. In the words of the Senate President Bukola Saraki, the Assembly has been able to introduce landmark legislations that have helped boost the nation's economy.
Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
But how harmonious has the relationship between the legislature and the executive been?
We've come to a situation where the legislature is now almost losing the public applause. But again, I want to say that the legislature should never contest for popularity contest with the executive. It will never win.
Nigerians are becoming more aware. If they thank you, you fail to do what they call feedback mechanism, go back to your constituency, tell your people this is what is happening, or why are you quarreling with Mr. President, why are you not talking on our behalf? I swear to God, you will not go back to your constituency, and people will not elect you.
What lessons for the 9th National Assembly to advance good governance?
It is important that legislators, they focus on their legislative work. If they focus on the work that they are constitutionally assigned to do, I think we would, they will not have too much distraction.
But the perception out there is that the legislature are not making any difference. They're just people who get into power and luxuriate at the expense of the people that voted them there in the first instance. The next legislature should begin to work on.
Analysts strongly believe that Nigerians stands to gain more through rights synergy that will translate to growth. Talatu Ezerike, NTA News.
Thanks, Talatu. Let's pause for some messages now. Nationwide continues shortly. Don't go away.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lots, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multipurpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, breaking the news for over 40 years.
Welcome back. Cognizant of the revenue losses suffered by Nigeria under the current oil production sharing contracts between the country and international oil companies, the House of Representatives is taking steps to amend the law. The House Wednesday plenary therefore passed for second reading a bill for an act to amend the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Sharing Contract Act. Nigeria is said to have so far lost more than $27 billion due to non-review of the contract, a situation which prompted the lawmakers to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate why concerned government agencies allowed such to happen. The committee is to carry out the investigation within 1 week and report findings to the House for further legislative action. And now to the oil sector. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Emmanuel Ibe Kachiku, has met with top executives of the National Oil Company of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Saudi Aramco, in Dhahran. The meeting is to solidify ongoing discussions on collaborating with the federal government of Nigeria on investments in the oil and gas sector. Energy correspondent Lydia Sampson reports that the meeting comes on the heels of the strategic value meeting held with the Minister of Energy, Industry and Mineral Resources of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Khalid Al-Falih, to cement the budding interest to support Nigeria's infrastructure development in the oil sector. Kachiku, who was received by the President and Chief Executive Officer of Saudi Aramco, Amin Nasser, and the top management of the conglomerate, highlighted the areas of shared investment interests, presenting the existing gaps in the midstream and downstream sector as viable investment options. Chief Executive Officer of Saudi Aramco, Amin Nasser, reiterated the resolve of the conglomerate to widen investment in Nigeria and share best practices. He said the company in the next 5 years intends to focus on investment in Africa, and Nigeria will not be left behind. Kachiku commended the high-level technological advancement of the National Oil Company. Kachiku lauded the various showcase technologies. The exploratory partnership visit ended with a firm acceptance of Saudi Aramco to quicken final conversations with Nigerian firms across the entire oil and gas value chain for mutually beneficial gains. Enugu State government to recruit 1,500 primary school teachers. Let's join Chinenye in Enugu for details of this and more reports from that zone. Hello, Chinenye. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Lydia. Good afternoon and welcome to Enugu. The education sector has received the attention of the Enugu State Executive Council as it approved the recruitment of additional 1,500 primary school teachers to beef up the staff strength in the sector. Susan Eze has details of the briefing of the outcome of State Executive Council meeting at Government House, Enugu.
To ensure availability of quality teachers in the state primary schools and to match the investments government is making in the improvement of school infrastructure, ESCO decided to recruit 1,500 primary school teachers to replace those who have retired. Emphasis is, however, on teachers for schools in rural communities where teachers are in short supply. Another vital decision by the Executive Council was the approval of the sum of 282.4 million to pursue the reaccreditation of courses that have expired in the Institute of Management and Technology, IMT.
State Executive Council saw it as very important to ensure that courses are accredited at IMT, and once these courses are accredited, the certificate we offer will continue to be credible.
On issues of social welfare, the Enugu State Executive Council, in a bid to ensuring the full implementation of the Child Rights Act already passed in the state, approved the institution of 12 special courts to handle matters of child rights abuse. Commissioner for Gender Affairs and Social Development, Princess Peace Nnaji, also announced the approval of 20 million naira for the rehabilitation of teenage mothers stranded in different hospitals due to lack of funds. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And that's it from Enugu. Lydia, it's back to you in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Chinenye. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has embarked on an assessment tour of areas ravaged by gunmen in some communities of Adamawa State recently, with a view to ascertaining the level of havoc caused and where to come in. Yusuf Jika completes the report.
The communities affected by the activities of armed men are Bari and Bolong of Demsa and Numan local government areas of Adamawa State. The attack left behind a sad story of loss of lives, displaced persons, and destruction of properties and houses that will take time and huge resources to address the gaps. The assessment visit by the Director of Search and Rescue, National Emergency Management Agency, Air Komodo Akube Iyamu, as directed by the Presidency, is to have a first-hand assessment of what it will take to provide succor and restore the hope of the affected people in the Nigerian project. Air Komodo Akube Iyamu, who was startled with the level of devastation on the affected communities, described the act as barbaric, inhuman, and retrogressive. He assured the people of government willingness and commitment to addressing the issue of insecurity and their current predicament.
Humanitarian intervention does not have language, doesn't have color. It's always immediate. So to get to bring succor to the people.
The director also visited victims of the incident at Numan General Hospital and those taking refuge at Lutheran Church of Christ, Numan, where he sympathized with them. Earlier, the delegation was at the palaces of Hamabata, Homon Alhamdu Teniki, and Hamabatama Homon Irmia Stephen, where the monarchs expressed dismay over the growing insecurity and called for effective security response by all to overhaul the situation. In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Sokoto Network Center is next, and Nura is our guide.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Sokoto. Governmental organizations and individuals have been challenged to provide free open-heart surgery services. Acting Chief Medical Director Osmanu Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto, Dr. Nasir Muhammad threw the challenge at the flag up of open-heart surgery in Sokoto. Musa Bakar reports.
Zachary Haliwa is among the first batch of patients here who had a successful open-heart surgery, courtesy of Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, Sokoto, in collaboration with Mohammed VI University Teaching Hospital, Marrakech, Morocco.
My heart beats so fast, I won't be able to trek from there. I'm fine now.
The procedure, which cost 5 million naira, was carried out free, but the number of patients is rising, with about 5,000 people in Sokoto, Zamfara, and Kebbi states in dire need of the surgery.
It's estimated that for us to address heart problems among our population, we should be doing a minimum of 500 cardiovascular surgeries per every million population. And this is the first time we are hosting and conducting open heart surgery in this region. So,
heart disease is said to be a growing problem in sub-Saharan Africa. The free open heart surgery is believed will go a long way in boosting life expectancy of people like Halima, who is recuperating. In Sokoto, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Sokoto. Nationwide continues with Lydia in Abuja.
Many thanks, Nura. The Ministry of Mines and Steel Development is stepping up efforts to increase the local production of steel in order to discourage the importation of substandard metal materials into Nigeria. The assurance was given by the Permanent Secretary Abdul Kadir Muazu in a message at a two-day summit on development of Nigeria's metal industry. Mayor Ogidi has that one.
Metal industry, the foundation of industrialization. And with more than 1,000 metallurgical industries, Nigeria is determined to make its voice heard in this direction. But these industries, mostly owned by private individuals, are either non-functional or producing materials below required standards.
One of their greatest problems
is that when they produce with such standards, they sell higher than those substandard products that have been dumped into Nigeria by importers that don't mean well for us.
Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, therefore, is rising up to the occasion by gathering some of the best brains in this industry on the way forward.
We are acting further with the Customs Service towards curbing metal incidental dumping of substandard steel and other metal products in Nigeria, as well as export of banned scrap metal.
But with the bill passed, then there will be a guarantee that regulatory mechanisms will be put in place to make sure all metallurgical activities are done well and right.
While waiting for the metallurgical bill to scale through in the National Assembly, the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development promised to provide the needed enablers to operators in the industry to strive, as efforts are on to ensure the Ajaokuta Steel Company is revamped to meet up the steel needs in the country. Mie Ogidi, NTA News.
In her efforts towards complementing government's initiative in improving the health of the nation, wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has secured partnership with the United Arab Emirates-based NGO known as Noor Dubai Foundation for the establishment of a 4-year comprehensive eye program in Katsina State. At the signing of the agreement between the Katsina State government and the Noor Dubai Foundation, Mrs. Buhari reaffirmed her commitment of bringing more similar gestures across the country through the Aisha Muhammadu Buhari Foundation. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
The research conducted by the Katsina State Ministry of Health show that there is an estimated blindness burden of 45,000, visual impairment of 95,000, as well as 10,000 irreversibly blind. Experts in the health sector believed that this is in Katsina State alone. Other states in Nigeria suffered similar challenges. The need for the reduction of this burden is what necessitated the intervention of the wife of the president through the Aisha Muhammadu Buhari Foundation. It could be recalled that in December 2017, Mrs. Buhari has met with the chairman, Noor Dubai Foundation in Dubai, Humaid Al-Kutami, and secure partnership with the foundation to intervene in that regard with a pilot program in Katsina State. The signing of this agreement between Katsina State government and the Noor Dubai Foundation is therefore a fulfillment of the December 2017 partnership. The 4-year program will include revamping of the health infrastructure in the state, set up 12 vision centers and optical workshop, as well as supporting and equipping 250 primary health care centers across the state and the training of personnel. The program will also provide free health care services, including screening program for students in schools, community educational and awareness to over 1.5 million people, and free cataract services to 11,000 individuals.
I still remember the initial discussions we had and the efforts that led to the conceptualization of this initiative. When I visited the Noor Dubai Foundation head office in Dubai in 2017. Today I'm happy to see how far we have gone. I believe when established, this will benefit not only the people of Katsina State, but the country at large, and also our neighboring country, Niger.
The program will strengthen the health system to be sustainable beyond external support.
This agreement will deliver a sustainable, comprehensive eye care program to the people of Katsina and neighboring states.
The program is expected to be expanded across the 36 states of the Federation, including FCT. From the State House, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
Nigeria should increase funding and revive technical and vocational training at all levels of the country, hopes to achieve inclusive and quality education to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all in the country by year 2030 as envisaged by the Sustainable Development Goals. This is the opinion at a national conversation aimed at assessing the educational level in the country in order to come up with solutions that will assist government implement the 10 pillars of the ministerial strategic plan to achieve the roadmap entitled Education for Change. Improving education curriculum and policy by getting inputs from employers, especially from the private sector, to suggest skills needed was also stressed, just as training of qualified teachers and involvement of states and local governments.
Quality education, it's not the money. It's maximizing the quality of what you get out of every naira spent. You can spend double this and not get good educational outcomes.
It is our responsibility today to see that even the policies that have been promulgated are implemented.
We're choosing education because it is very much interwoven with the welfare of individuals, welfare of Nigerian poor, which is the place where we have our primary interest.
And that's it on Nationwide. Thank you for watching. Do have a pleasant time watching our programs on the NTA. Bye for now.